Hello and welcome to the channel where we talk about all things Weiss Schwartz and chill with friends. My name is Liam and today we're going to be talking about ADHD. We're going to be talking about ADHD. Now, if you are new to the channel here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button. As well as that, if you've got any comments or any feedback regarding this video, please let me know in the comments below. And check the description as well to see my other social medias on Twitch, on Discord, and on Twitter. Apart from that, let's jump into the video. So, as we've already mentioned, today we're going to be talking about ADHD, adult diagnosis, the ADHD diagnosis process for adults, and also just our experiences with ADHD, as well as actually going through a medical document for me. So for those that join on the stream, you guys know that I've said that I struggle with autism and ADHD and things like that, but I've never been formally diagnosed. I started to go through the diagnosis process about 9-10 months ago now, and only recently we finally got a letter through from the NHS actually asking to fill a diagnosis sheet, like a self questionnaire, I guess. And part of that is that I've got to ask not just myself, but also like my mum from my childhood, and also someone who lives with me constantly for the last 6 months. And I thought it'd be interesting to actually record speaking with my wife Sarah, go through Sarah marking the form with me, go through some of Sarah's experiences of me, but also her own experience, so she herself is diagnosed with ADHD. So for those that don't know what ADHD is, it stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. And basically it's a neurodiversity or a neurological disorder where you might not be as attentive to certain things, you might not be able to keep yourself concentrated as much, or you might over concentrate on certain things. It's a very hard thing to define. But
with like neurodivergency, you typically tend to be born with it as well.
Yes, it tends to be some form of genetic.
Maybe you can born with it. Maybe it's just ADHD. The cat wants the pizza. The pizza!
So a bit about me and like why I decided to go through this process. Basically, the last year or so, 2 years, I've been struggling a lot with my own mental health in terms of being motivated and efficient during work. It's also affected some of my social environments, my social circles, my friends. And I've noticed that something isn't quite right and maybe I need some further support. And seeing Sarah go through her diagnosis process, I resonated quite a lot with some of it. So I felt that I definitely had something along those lines, and I thought that actually I could benefit with actually getting the medical support for that. So what the rest of this video is going to be is basically going through the questionnaire that is basically asked of someone who knows me, who has known me for the last 6 months and lived with me or anything like that, i.e. my wife, and basically going through each section and then Sarah talking about each one in relation to me and my behaviours. So the first section, there are 4 sections to this little questionnaire, and the first one's all about inattention. So the first question is...
Oh, that's my bit. That's my cue. Fail to give close attention to details or make careless mistakes in his or her work or other activities.
Now, they don't call me the king of misplays.
No, I call you the king of misplays.
For nothing. What's your view on this, Sass?
I think I'm going to very much agree with that. That's very often.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think I mark myself as an often for this, but the more I think about it... Yeah, it's, like, again, even just playing Weiss, something that I'm very knowledgeable on, I make misplays all the time. And I realise it after I've done it.
But it's even like reading, you'll get like what you think is all the main information and then you'll miss little bits.
Question number 2.
Has difficulty sustaining his or her attention in tasks or fun activities. Number 4, me lord.
Yeah, even when I'm doing the streaming and things like that where I'm really enjoying it, I'll get distracted by what's going on Discord. Also, when we're playing board games, I'll tend to get distracted by my phone.
Even if you're playing like video games, like if it's a loading screen, go on your phone immediately.
Yeah, I'm on TikTok. I have a dick TikTok. It's really bad. It's very ADHD friendly.
No, it's not.
Question 3.
Doesn't listen when spoken to directly. Number 4, me lord. Oh, I unclicked the pen. I will have entire conversations with you and they'll be like, Liam go, huh, what? I'm not repeating myself again. It took enough for me to get all that out of my brain once, let alone again.
Yeah, I'm bad for this.
You are so bad. In person, you are horrific for it. Like, genuinely, might as well be talking to a brick wall. I'd actually get a response.
Question number 4?
Doesn't follow through on instructions and fails to finish work or chores. Big fat for me, Lord, for that. I'll say, like, I'm about to go to work. Can you make sure the dishwasher gets unloaded or loaded? Can you hang out the washing or put the washing on? But no, because you're so busy getting distracted and doing other things. Liam, did you do dishwasher? Oh no, sorry. Liam, you have to do the cat litter. Please, can you do the cat litter? I'll do it later. Liam, it's been 3 days. Have you done the cat litter? No. It's the only job you have to do is the cat litter.
I feel attacked and I don't like this.
That's because you asked for it.
Question number 5.
Has difficulty organising tasks and activities. Definitely not a 4.
Okay.
Because bear in mind, you did obviously organise like the UK Open. Obviously, a lot of it was me going, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? But that was also because you were learning how to run that sort of thing.
That was event management / your stage management coming in to help.
Yeah. So I'm going to say that you are good at organising others, but you cannot organise yourself.
That's fair enough.
You cannot organise yourself for shit.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is the problem. So, like, don't ever expect a birthday card from us. Because I will buy them, have them for weeks, and forget to send them. And you just outright forget.
I remember people's birthdays, I just forget
Yeah, you
cards.
forget the cards. Whereas I forget birthdays, but I'll have the card and go, oops.
So to confirm, you're marking me as a 3 for that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
cool.
it's like, it's not like you're completely hopeless. Like, you can organise yourself, but equally...
Question number 6.
This is a long one. Avoids, dislikes, or am reluctant to engage in tasks that require sustained mental effort. If you're not interested, there is no chance. Absolutely no chance.
Yeah, for example, I avoid reading because reading takes effort. However, I will spend hours editing a video because I love it.
So like when I tried to engage in conversation with you this morning about my favourite Shakespeare character, you're like, yeah, cool, anyway, so why?
Yeah. Oh, I did this morning. So is that a 3 or a 4?
I'm going to put it down, I've already put it down as a 4.
So yeah, so you're saying very often on this.
Yeah, because if it's something that, even if it's something that I'm interested in, like a lot of my stage management stuff and a lot of my work you're interested in, but if it's anything outside of my work, you're kind of like not bothered. You won't engage in a conversation with it. You'll come and see some musical theatre, but even then, it's because you somewhat like it, and that, although it takes a lot of mental effort to keep the conversation if you're not interested.
Yeah.
So you just won't talk.
Yeah, I just won't talk and therefore avoid it. Question number 7.
Loses things necessary to tasks or activities.
So when we started this video, I was like, where's my hairbrush? I can't find it.
Oh, I left a paper downstairs.
I left my form downstairs. I didn't lose that, I just forgot it.
But it would be losing keys,
My wallet.
your wallet. You're always losing a little card thing.
It's here.
Yes, because you used it yesterday. Otherwise it was lost, wasn't it?
I got called out shit.
But like even like you never have like a pen handy or that sort of thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's a case of if you know you're going to the doctors and you need to fill out something, you won't have it, or you never know where it's gone, or it's not done.
Yeah.
So it's very often like you know what you need to do, you just never know where anything is.
Question 8.
Is easily distracted by extraneous dyslexia stimuli or irrelevant thought. If any of you have actually been around Liam and I in person, and we'll just be like chatting, playing a board game, suddenly on his phone I'll go, is it important? Is it urgent? Does it have to be done right here, right now? Half the time it's, yes, it's important. Yes, it's urgent. Like, is it really? Like, oh, but someone will send me a meme. Like, no, Liam, that's not relevant and that's not important to what we're doing in this moment in time.
I thought the thing you would have called me out on is when we talk and the TV's on and I can't help but go, no. And the final question for this section where I feel like I've been massively attacked. Question 9.
Is forgetful in daily activities.
Look. It's not that I get forgetful. It's I get distracted and sometimes I ignore things because I don't want to do them.
No, or you just forget. I'm like, oh, you're leaving for work? Like, yeah, I'm back at this sort of time. Your message, are you home yet? I'm like, I've not even left the theatre. Even though I specifically tell you and also my schedule's at the moment very, very regular. I finish at the same sort of time. Or it's Liam, what did I just ask you to do? Oh,
I'm so bad.
Or it's right, Liam, I need your help. Can you wash some pots? Or, yeah. Liam, what did I just ask you? What? Or you literally, I only know that you do this because I do it all the time, but you walk into a room and you're just like, why am I here? You can't be like, why have I got this in my hand? Like, because you were doing this. Oh, yeah.
Another thing as well, the amount of times where I'm like, where's my phone? It's in my hand. I forget it's in my hand.
Yeah, how often is it that I get my phone, I'm using my phone torch to look for my phone?
Yes. I do it as well.
I know.
Oh, dear. I hope the abuse stops now. That'd be great.
It's not abuse, this is informative. I'm helping you. Wait, you had to do this for me.
I did.
Exactly. So, don't sound about.
So that's it for section 1. We're now moving on to section 2, which is about hyperactivity. I don't think I'm going to be as bad on this one, but we'll see what happens. Next question.
So number 10, fidgets with hands or feet or squirm in seat. That's written very poorly.
It is, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. No, it's, I can't think what it is, but it's that you always like picking. There is a very specific, I can't think what it is now. Oh, it's a dermatillomania.
Yeah, dermatillomania.
I mean, if I could give an example, you could look at my fingers. It's like a skin picking.
Yeah, like me biting my nails, picking the skin around my forehead.
Yeah, so
picking scabs.
So it's
bad for that.
It's like it is a type of OCD, but also it's a fidgeting.
Like a stim. Kind of like stimming as well. So yeah, I think because your brain's kind of going, you then I have to do something.
You're always doing something else. So yeah. I'm going to put that as a 4.
Yeah, that's fair. No,
that's But
yeah.
dermatillomania is very, very common with ADHD as well, so... Yeah,
so it makes sense again why I've always bit my nails from a young age.
And a fidget ring. I love my brain, how my thumb is perfect because of my fidget ring, but now my other fingers have suffered.
This is what I live with, everyone.
Hi.
Right, next question.
Leaves his or her seat in classrooms or in other situations in which remaining seated is expected.
Now, I don't think I'm this bad for that.
No, I'm actually tempted to put you as like a rarely or never.
Really?
Yeah.
So I do it very occasionally, but when I do it, it's so occasionally and usually another reason behind it.
Yeah, it's like, so if you're like going to the toilet, getting a drink, so that's, whereas obviously when we play board games and stuff, if it takes a while for the turns to happen, I will get up and I will go and do something else, and I will, but when I know it's my turn, I will come and sit back. I'm fully present, I can take my turn, and then I will leave again.
Yes.
So I don't think that, I put that as a 1.
Yeah, that's fair. Question number 12.
Shifts around excessively or feels restless or hemmed in.
Hemmed in's a really... What does that even mean?
Well, I just know as a hem as in sewing, so I ain't got a clue.
So as if you're being restrained, kept in, I guess, is what that means.
I don't think you do. Once you're comfy, you're comfy. You are not moving. Whereas you call me a fidget bum because I will constantly keep turning over. I'm constantly changing positions. So it says, if someone's hemmed in, they are prevented from moving or changing, for example, because they are surrounded by people or obstacles. So that is where I deem it social masking.
Yes.
So, like, for example, obviously when we're playing board games, I'm really comfortable with who we play with. So I feel like I can get up and go and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas also, like, in public, I know socially I shouldn't, so I won't.
Yeah, I think if it's in a social environment where I don't know the people, or especially if it's my family, where I feel that there are social norms that need to be kept, I tend to be a bit more reserved, I guess is the right word.
Well, no, you're social masking.
Yeah.
It's blending in.
Yeah, whereas around my friends, especially those that see me at TDI, people that see me on stream, I'm just unequivocally and regrettably myself.
I think I'm going to probably put that as a 2.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Because if you're at any form of like game shop where you're like, we're sitting and like, oh, I'm going to see what they've got this in stock and just go. Like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
So yeah, I put that as a 2 because I think it's nowhere near to the extent that I am.
Agreed.
But I think you do sometimes.
Next question.
Has difficulty engaging in leisure activities quietly, feels uncomfortable, or is loud and noisy? Can I just submit all the Minecraft streams, please, as evidence?
I'm a Weiss streams.
And no objection to no hearsay. This is official.
That
is an absolute fall. Like, I'm tempted to underline that. Like, that is. Like, when we're playing Minecraft streams and I can hear you screaming from downstairs. That's why during, like, your 24-hour live stream, I was not in the house. Because of how loud you always are.
It's not loud.
It really is.
It's energetic. I've just got a bellowy voice. That's me. And the final question for this section
is on the go or act as if driven by a motor. They feel like they have to always be busy or always doing something.
Yeah. How would you put this?
I'm probably going to put it more like a 3.
Yeah.
Because basically when you watch anime, you turn to like a potato.
Yeah.
And you won't move.
Yeah.
But then again, it's that thing of on the go, because you're getting through all the episodes, so you feel like you're doing something productive because you're getting through it.
Yeah. But everything else, again, I'm always checking my YouTube and checking for comments to make sure I'm replying. I'm constantly on my Discord.
Yeah, to the point of where like that, because you are constantly on the go and you don't know how to stop. Like I've noticed before, if I struggle to sleep, I wake up and you're checking your comments at like 3 o'clock in the morning. You are checking your analytics. It's constant. So
it's very hard for me to switch off.
I'm probably gonna put it as a 3.
Yeah.
But you do watch anime. And
I do actually switch off.
There are some things where you can.
But most things I just don't switch off.
Yeah.
And that's it for section 2 for the hyperactivity section. Now we're moving on to impulsivity. Oh no.
Talks excessively in social situations. I tell you what, the funniest thing is if you've had to do a phone interview and I've been sat in the room cringing. I'm like, stop, shut up, like. It's so painful.
There's a reason why I do radio. There's a reason why I do streaming, because I can talk for Britain. I've always been known for my waffle as a kid and as an adult.
So no, you talk excessively, especially if it's Weiss. It's just I'm just like,
I do have a verbal diarrhea.
No, so wasn't it like our first couple of years of dating, I had to ban you from talking about Weiss?
Yes.
I was like, you cannot talk about Weiss to me at all.
Yep.
Because otherwise we don't have conversation.
Yep. Next question.
Number 16. Blurts out answers before questions have been completed. Complete others' sentences or jumps the gun. Now, the biggest problem I have, this is an absolute 4, but this is like my own personal nightmare because it takes me a little bit longer to form what I want to say.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it's the dyslexia as well, but I kind of find it hard to find certain words and...
Yeah, sure.
So you ask me a question and obviously we figured out over time that I have to say something, take it back, I reword it, and it takes me a couple of attempts to kind of properly say what I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be talking, and you cut me off mid-sentence. I'm just like, all right then. And I don't finish what I'm saying because you asked me a question, but you've assumed the answer. And it's like, could not be further from the truth.
Has this just become couples therapy?
Yes, it's funny like that. But no, it is, no, I think because of my own struggles, you asked me a question like, yeah, well, I think, stop.
Look, I've been conditioned for this.
Right, yeah.
I really, for game shows, for answering questions, for solving problems.
Yes, but
my school life kind of conditioned me for that.
But it's ADHD, Liam.
It is.
Exactly, shut up.
So the penultimate question for this section.
Has difficulty waiting his turn. So, some of this is a little bit conditioned because it's something that I've always done, so we've always done it. About if we go shopping together, we will both wait in a separate line and whoever goes down the quickest we jump to.
Yeah.
But that's because, so for me, I had an issue when I was asked this question because I said no, but I'm quite a patient person, but the way they asked it was weird. So when I look back, I'm like, actually no, because if I've only got one item, people know me. If I've only got one item, I'll put it back and walk out. I'm not queuing for one item.
Yeah.
So I'll go and do a self-service thing. If I've got loads of stuff, and I was like, yeah, no, if I've got loads of stuff, I'll wait. I'm fine with that. I'll get a bit impatient, but it's nothing out of the ordinary. So I think you can be quite bad for that because you end up on your phone or...
Yeah, I struggle in that sense. I am impatient, but I won't jump in. I understand the social expectation of norms of waiting your turn.
So I'm probably going to put you down as an often.
Yeah. And the last question for impulsivity.
Interrupts or intrudes on others, butts into conversations or activities without permission, or takes over what the others are doing. There are some board games where I actually haven't played my own turn, because Liam has played the turn for me. You butt into conversations all the time. You interrupt a lot.
Yeah.
With peace and love, you do interrupt all the time. So if I'm trying to talk about work or something, and you think I'm repeating something I've already said, you'll jump in. I'm like, well, no, actually, I was elaborating on what I'd already said to you. Well, I know that that's been feedback you've had at work before. Yeah. Obviously, it's a lot more difficult when you're doing video calls. Even I struggle with being on Teams and stuff. But it is something that you do a lot, and I know you've had feedback for that.
Yeah.
But also, I only notice it because I do it. And it's probably happened quite a lot in this video. I've been like, we have to learn to not.
I'll be interested to watch back and see how many times you do that.
Because it's like, I really want to contribute to what they're saying, and it's that I'll forget if I don't say it there and then. And then the thing I've noticed with you is that when you interrupt, you then carry on talking because you have to finish what you're saying. Even if the other person's still talking, you keep going. Whereas I will stop what I go, okay, you just can't physically stop your,
I just
you
can't
can't stop yourself.
Yeah. And the final section is on sluggish cognitive tempo?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. First question.
Sure. Is prone to daydreaming when he or she should be concentrating on something or working. Now, this is where I've always found this really difficult because it's like such a summary. But like, I wouldn't say that you're a daydreamer in the typical.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm really trying to not sing the song.
Anyway.
Like, I am a complete daydreamer. Like, I will be off in the class. I'll be thinking about something else.
Whereas I'm very much more, I procrastinate a lot. Rather than daydream, I am a terrible procrastinator.
No, it's that on the go thing. So if you're at work and that's not kind of quiet, you'll end up doing something else.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's daydreaming. You're not kind of thinking about 100 other things. You kind of not. Whereas you'll be like, South, oh, what? Sorry.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're like a daydreamer.
But it's more of I get focused in something and I just block out the world.
That's the hyper focusing more than daydreaming.
That's fair. So what do you think to this then?
So I probably would put more of a sometimes.
Sure. Okay.
I'd put it on a bit lower because you're not quite in the airy fairy world.
Next question.
Has trouble staying alert or awake in boring situations. So yeah, that's why I fall asleep during films and in the cinema and stuff.
I've fallen asleep during like when we were watching The Office and stuff. And
no, that's just because you're relaxing, you're comfy. It's saying, but that it's in boring situations. So for example, like when we watched Sonic in the cinema, I'm not into Sonic. I got bored and I fell asleep.
It wasn't boring for me, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think in boring situations, it'd be more like a social thing. You'll go onto your phone. If we're with family or something, I do have to like, Liam, stop. I think you can kind of think about other things and do your own thing. But then if someone goes, oh yeah, unbelievable, oh yeah.
So you're saying a 2 for this one as well?
I'd say more of a 3 because if you're in a meeting, you often are doing something else as well.
Yeah. Oh no. Next question.
Is easily confused.
I am a very angry, confusing person.
Yeah. Like couples therapy moment. This is like the biggest thing of out of everything. It's the fact that I'm trying to explain something, but your brain has jumped in, finished the sentence, finished the conversation, jumped to conclusion, and that is the way it's happening. So when I'm trying to say, no, actually, if you let me finish, this is what I'm getting at. But you get frustrated because I'm a bit slower in trying to form what I want to say, that then you just skip it. This is happening. This is how it's done. And if I try and change it, you get really frustrated. And when you get frustrated, you immediately go to anger, and I don't do well with anger.
Yeah.
So this is the ultimate clashing point of that.
I've been getting better, but I still have a lot of issues with it. I've not been getting as angry when I'm confused nowadays. Yeah. But I still get confused a lot.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's an absolute fall. Like that is. Yeah. That is my big ultimate thing.
Next question.
It's easily bored. I don't think you are.
Yeah, I try and invest myself. Even like with like your degree stuff when you're talking for it, it's something that I beforehand had no real interest in whatsoever. But when we started talking about it, I would force myself, not to force myself, I would unintentionally become invested.
So I think because your brain likes certain types of conversations, like you again, it's very like ADHD. People like would hate small talk. I fucking loathe it. I can't bear it. I can't.
Yeah, I don't mind small talk.
But in the case of like with my like uni stuff, it's on a higher intellectual level.
Sure.
There's a bit of a debate, there's a bit of a back and forth.
Yeah.
And you respond really well to that.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think because your brain likes that, you can jump in on conversation you don't necessarily know much about, but because you're learning from it, you're asking to and froing.
I can input.
So I think even when watching TV and stuff, I don't think you're that bored because you're always on the go.
Sure.
That makes sense. Whereas me,
I'm bored.
Every 5 seconds, I'm bored. Like, why don't you just like play on the PlayStation? Like, yeah, that's really boring. So what it is, yeah, but that's boring. Why don't you have a nap? That's really boring. And then I don't know what I'll do, and I'll sit in paralysis for 3 hours because I can't decide what to do, and I get bored because I'm bored about being bored. I'm gonna put that low. I'm gonna put you down as like, I'll put it down as a 2.
Yeah. Now there are moments, but yeah.
Yeah, it's higher than normal. But it's not on my, like, you can't get on my level, bitch.
Next question.
Is lethargic or more tired? You can sleep for about 17 hours.
I'm always tired.
You are always.
I'm always tired. I am literally in a constant state of tired. Yeah. I'm sure if you guys have ever seen me on stream, the amount of time, again, I wouldn't be surprised if I make my mistakes because I'm constantly tired, because my brain is overworking so much all the time. That
I skipped a question.
It just makes me really lethargic. Going back a question.
Is spacey or in a fog? No.
No.
Not particularly. Against, I think Spacey's like the daydreamer sort of. I will space out.
There are times where,
I
like, when we're
don't
talking,
know.
I'll just go, like I said about the...
But I think you're just, yeah, but you get distracted by other things.
Yeah, it's more because
Whereas
there's another thing there.
I'm distracted by my own brain.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think you're...
The only time ironically, the only time I ever get distracted like that is when I am crafting a new deck in my head, or I'm thinking about Weiss separately in my own brain.
Yeah.
Because I've got something on my mind regarding the latest set or a set I've recently got.
Yeah.
That's probably the only time I ever do that.
Yeah, that's why I put that down as a 2.
Yeah. Next question.
Is underactive or has less energy than others? 4. Yeah, so you always, like, again, we have board game days, you'll end up going to bed at like 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like, just in general, if you don't have to move, you won't.
Yeah.
There we go.
Out. Next question.
It's slow moving. Have you ever tried to get Liam out of the house or somewhere on time?
No, ironically, the only thing I'm not slow moving for is for Weiss tournaments. I'm always there like really early.
You leave early.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're leaving at 10, I'm leaving at 8. I'm like, huh?
It's probably the only thing that I ever turn up for early consistently.
Yeah.
And the final question of this section, actually the entire form.
Doesn't seem to process information as quickly or as accurately as others.
Now this is interesting because I think there are definitely some situations where I process things much faster than normal people, but then there are other things where I agree I'm terrible. For example, processing your plans.
So it's a case of I am very, very slow to process things. So you can, again, this thing is like, because you'll read something and the info, 8 or 9 times out of 10, you can skim read it, get all the info, and you get it right. Whereas other times,
So the summary of this is sometimes.
yeah, because then you'll ask me like 7 times in a day, like, what time are you leaving for work? What time are you leaving for work? Same as last week.
So that's all the questions. Thank you so much, Sass. So yeah, as you can tell from this video and this couples therapy, I hope you enjoyed it. I guess some final thoughts on this form and the process here in the UK for NHS. It's very long-winded. The wait time is actually ridiculous. Like, we're looking at a wait time of about 1 to 2 years easily, just to get this actually reviewed.
A blessing, to be fair.
True. There are some places where it's like 4 to 5 years.
I was 4 years technically waiting list, but obviously my situation was pretty unique, so
yeah,
I got very lucky.
But then it's a matter of, you've got these forms here which aren't the most friendly to those that have ADHD to fill those out, because again, so these questions I have to ask myself on a self-analysis, and some of the questions I had to really stop and go, right, what does this actually mean? Does this impact this? It wasn't as clean cut as I'd hoped it would be.
I think the way that I can add to that, and I mentioned it to you before, and so literally I'd been diagnosed privately at uni, so I already knew I had ADHD, but I wanted medication, so I had to then obviously go through this whole process. So I've been waiting months and months. Like, my mum was ringing every day to try and get a cancellation, just to try and speed the process up. Eventually got to see the doctor. The first thing is like, so how do you struggle? I'm like, come again? Considering a lot of the doctors, like, when I was first diagnosed, were like, oh yeah, just Google it. That's do not Google ADHD. No, because like, ADHD does not exist. Proof. It's like,
yeah, no, like, don't use Google as your doctor. If you've got anything that you would like to address regarding this, obviously we are not medical professionals, we're just going for our own personal experiences.
What I will say is what saved me was How to ADHD on YouTube.
Oh, YouTube, yes.
She is absolutely amazing, and a lot of her resources were really useful, because then when I was asked that, I was like, I don't know how I struggle, but that's because I didn't realise that we had made adaptations for the things I struggle with.
Yeah. We've just instinctively done it.
So I don't know how I struggle, because we found ways around it, or ways to help me when I do struggle.
Yeah.
So I could be like, oh yeah, I get bored really easily, but then we found ways to make me not as bored. Or if I get really fidgety, we found ways around it. Or we've just accepted it's just me.
Yeah.
And actually it's nothing wrong. So I think that's why this is a really flawed thing.
Yeah, I agree.
But equally, I don't know how else they could do it better.
That's the problem. It's difficult, isn't it?
So what I will say is, obviously I've had the luxury of doing the private testing and the NHS. The private testing, this is what happened. So they were going through this, hence why I said about, the waiting turns. That's why I said, but they could have said it better. So she went, okay, so maybe do you struggle, like, with how are you in phone calls? The NHS, they weren't as open to that. they would reword it, but they'd read it out to you, but they wouldn't necessarily give you scenarios.
Yeah, I think the situation is NHS is great. Or don't get me wrong, like the fact there's a free healthcare service in the UK is fantastic, and it's probably the best free healthcare service in the world. The free healthcare. However, because they've got so much on their plate, there are certain things that they don't focus enough on, which is where sometimes going private is actually better. For example, for things like neurodiversity.
It's not even that. It's also because ADHD, autism, all that, it's still not quite well researched.
Yeah, and it's only researched in certain areas, i.e. in boys.
Well, like I've said, obviously, I think it's called the DSM-5. I think that's the current grading, like the book that they use. The private was telling me, and How to ADHD has a whole big thing about it, that all this ADHD stuff is researched in boys. So that's why a lot of females aren't getting diagnosed or get diagnosed later in life. So this is basically how male is your brain.
Yeah.
Essentially, whereas like I didn't get diagnosed until I was like 22 because of social masking. Because society says, oh, as a girl, when you wear dresses, you sit like this, you do this. This is not very ladylike, is it? Whereas this is, oh, boys will be boys. And it's kind of, this is more normal for boys. Whereas girls are trained to hide it.
Yeah.
And that's why this is a little bit...
It's flawed.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way of putting it. It's a flawed system, but research is getting better. Like more research is being done. There are people, like we said, like How to ADHD. Well, I'll pop the link to their channel below. If you want to do any research on ADHD, see if there's anything you want to check out. Again, I'm not sure if she's a medical professional, but she's
not, but she has conversations with those, and she brings them on, and yeah,
and she's obviously experienced it herself. She's ADHD herself, and it's
very,
very like her videos are very, very good.
Yeah, it's all very community driven as well.
And ironically, watching her videos made me think, ooh, maybe this is more than just depression and anxiety. If there's something else going on here.
Yeah.
And it was thanks to her videos and obviously then your experiences that made me go, I should look more into this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we've covered the form, we've covered a bit about our stories and a bit about ADHD. Did you enjoy this sort of video? A bit more down to earth, actually away from Weiss Schwartz.
And not having me on camera.
And having something. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to have you on.
This is not what I do, this is not my thing.
But yeah, I think realistically, we've learned quite a bit actually talking a bit more together here. And I hope you guys enjoyed that as well. And if there's anything that we can do to help you, if you want to message in the comments below and ask some questions and some advice, please feel free to.
Or just make friends.
I'm
lonely.
Obviously, we won't be offering medical advice and things like that. We are not medical professionals. But what we can do is give us our examples and experiences from our lives and our situations. But obviously, everyone's different. Everyone's got unique scenarios. I'll always talk about things like that. So if you want to have these more down-to-earth videos where it's away from Weiss Schwartz for a bit, learning a bit about me and my life and me as a person, I'm more than happy to do that. I'm more than happy to share my story. Like, people really enjoyed the Q&A where it was a bit Weiss Schwartz, a bit not Weiss Schwartz. People seem to enjoy me being me. So yeah, if you're interested in that sort of video, let me know.
What I will just quickly say though is if you want to have any of these sorts of conversations, asking questions, even if it's just like in general life, or if you're not having a great time, you need to vent, I think it's just asking someone if they have the capability to listen.
Yes.
Emotionally, mentally, are you able to have this sort of conversation? Are you able to listen?
Don't force your problems onto other people. Don't trauma dump.
So it's kind of like, I'm always happy to have these sort of conversations, happy to chat. So it's kind of like okay, I want to have this conversation, I want to ask this question, are you okay to?
Yes.
Just for this, out of respect.
And even then, it's worth asking every time, because there might be times where that person is able to, but then there might be another time where they're having a really rough time and they can't.
Yeah.
So it's always worth just making sure, for the sake of their mental health, as well as making sure that you can then get the support that you need. Yeah,
so it's just sorry, I can't right now. That's absolutely fine, cool. Yeah, you've not risked their mental health as well trying to talk about it.
But yeah, thank you for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure to hit that like button. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Check out my other social medias in the description and let us know what you thought about this video or anything regarding the topic in the comments below. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for Sarah for coming to join and be my wonderful assistant / wife.
Cool.
Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Well, I won't, but...
Bye!